What is going on, everyone? It has been a while, but BT13 finally out. Finally get to get rid of fucking BT12, BT11 midness. And I think we're going into a good format. What do you guys think?
I think we're going to be the best format.
Whoa. Better than BT8?
I think
ShineGreymon running
We'll
rampant.
see. We'll see.
I think BT13 looks like a fantastic format. I didn't think BT12 was that bad. I thought it was pretty good, but it's just it ran on long and losing to Beals sucked. But other than that, it was a fine format.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, a little cringe.
But every format has a deck that just feels awful losing, and that's part of having a top tier deck.
Yep.
It just depends on how terrible the play against that top tier deck is, really.
That's true. And BT13 is going to be a long format for what we're in here for 3-4 months.
Very long.
4
Yeah.
months. So we're hoping it's a good format. It feels like it's gonna be good so far, but it is gonna be 4 months. So
Yeah.
Wait, we have the shakeup though.
Yeah, we're there's going to be some shakeups. What is it? RB1?
Gallantmon's gonna go crazy.
I don't know about that. All right. I don't know about that. So we're gonna call this like early BT13 / I guess you could say Gen Con or what is it, PPGs this weekend too format.
Mhm.
So Gen Con is like the next major in-person / online regional coming up next weekend. So it is gonna be pretty much be what we think the meta is gonna be like going into those tournaments. So let's just get right into it with we'll just go in order of this list here. This is Jessmon. What do you guys think? I'm gonna
just
Fine.
new support, but I don't think it. Some people that are Jessmon stands think it's good. I think it's just okay. I think Jessmon didn't really get better. I'd say tier 3.
yeah.
I heard that the new Jessmon is like super whatever for the deck. Like it doesn't do anything,
Oh.
and I'm not sure. Maybe the GameCube can, but no new sisters, right? So
The best card they got is probably the new Gonku. It's
Yeah.
but it's like not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the same deck.
Fair enough. So that still wasn't really doing anything.
Well, I mean, it has its line, which is pretty good.
Yeah, the new
GX
rookie. I think it's like a new rookie and a new champion, but
New saber and a bow.
new savior. So new line, yeah. I heard they're pretty solid, but it still feels like it's just the same Jessmon deck with the same problems.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll move on to Blue Flare, a very controversial deck. Anyone
Yeah,
have?
That's what you call it.
Okay. So this has been Poo Flare since it came out in what, BT8? It came out with
BT10.
BT10 cross stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then
I don't
it's slowly been getting support, and I think finally now it's been upgraded to Goo Flare, tier 1.
I think EX4 was such a boon for this deck. Finally
Yeah.
having like extra pieces and extra curio made this deck crazy.
Yeah.
That said, I think it's either at the bottom of tier 1 or the top of 1.5. It's really good though. It actually is a real threat of a deck now.
Yeah, I've always been saying this is like a gatekeeper deck. Like if you smash your good matchups and you hard lost your bad matchups, but with the new support, this is like the best the deck has ever been, and it can actually just do its game plan even into like mid or bad matchups. Like it can just aggro you out, and then it has Kazuhamon to play out extra bodies. Blazing Boost is the most consistent it's ever been with the extra Kiriha. The new Kiriha Dual Tamer, you can actually stack them so you don't feel bad hitting multiples off Blazing Boost. You have a second male Bergermon. Yeah.
It grabs sources from trash.
Grabs sources from trash, which is a big problem. All your Greymons go to trash, you can't do shit. Now if they're in the trash, you can just scoop them up. This is the best.
Backup Metal Greymon.
Yeah, the backup Metal Greymon. It's okay, but it does the job as a Metal Greymon. This is the best the deck has ever been. I think
The top end is so different for everyone too.
Yeah, so you can. There's a lot of tech choices. You can go X7 Superior Mode, Kaiser Nail, like.
We played a mirror match, and you were playing an aggro version, and I was playing a more control version. That just kind of shows like the differences you can make in this deck now.
Yeah, you can play Ruin Mode. Yep, you can play Ruin Mode.
Pretty good.
You can play Paladin Mode.
It's either low tier 1 or high tier 1.5. But
I never
nowhere
thought
below
that
that. It's actually really good now.
I never thought this deck was bad. I think I think the new cards could have been blank. They could have just said Blue Flare, and the deck would have been amazing. It just needed more names. That was it.
That's
But
true.
otherwise, I think the deck was super solid. And now it's like easy.
Yeah,
Top tier deck.
that's true. I don't know. Ryan, you play this deck. What do you think?
I mean, I've been playing it since the beginning, and I've had it, and it's definitely gotten a lot better. I leaned more towards the Kazuha
Mhm.
with the Kaiser. I also think the Metal Greymon for the actual blue player is really good too, to allow yourself to unsuspend. And if you had that, the red security +1 Greymon, you could swing for all 5 checks with just that one Digimon in one turn,
Mhm.
which I think is pretty good. If your opponent knows how to play around blue flare, it does make a lot of matchups a little bit more challenging, but there's still ways to kind of get through that, I think. But I do think it's up there.
Yep. I think the new names help you. Like even if your opponent is only doing one stack, like you can still just smack them down with red Greymon,
Yeah.
Metal Greymon X if you want to go that route too. Just get more
Yeah.
checks. It's pretty cool.
But you could even evolve that blue Metal Greymon, the Z Greymon,
Yeah.
on top of that, and just punch through everything all at once.
Yeah, there's a lot of techs. So I think blue flare for sure. If you cook up the right build, I think it's good. Also, you can play black cards in
Yes.
the dual tamer. So Kongu's on the table, Breath of the Gods on the table. Whatever.
Cannon.
Yeah.
If you want to be spicy, of course.
If you want to get spicy, but definitely be on the lookout for the black cards. All right, we'll move on from blue flare. There's definitely low tier 1, mid tier 1, maybe tier 1.5 depending on your meta, like Bryce said. Is this just like Venusmon decks?
Venusmon control, security control type stuff. You usually grab Chaos Grade while we're at it. It's like at the bottom. They're the same deck.
Sure.
Just next to each other.
Chaos degrade deck.
I think Chaos
yeah.
Degrade is. I think Chaos Degrade deck is still tier 2, and Venusmon maybe like low tier 2, high tier 3.
Yeah, I think they're the same deck. I think this deck has been on the down just because they keep printing cards that really deal with control type strategies.
Mm-hmm.
There are definitely matchups where this is going to feel like, oh, super oppressive, your opponent hits and they just lose their big stack. But then there's going to be matchups where you actually can't win. It's going to be way too hard. Like any cross deck just can keep pumping out attacks and you can't really stop them. Royal Knights is going to be an absolute nightmare as you can't deal with their big bodies. Beals can trash your whole security stack. But then you'll run into like Machinedramon and then just get rid of the stack every time you have a Chaos Degrade. You'll run into Greymon and they'll also lose a Chaos Degrade.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, for real.
Only sometimes.
Yeah. If you play it right, I think you can play around it.
But yeah, like it's the matchups are becoming more and more polarized. So I think tier 2 is a good spot for it for both of these kind of decks. They're the same deck in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even though one could be like a yellow hybrid-ish deck or like a Ofani type elite deck, they're still the same deck.
We agree, tier 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too much to say about those. I think if you're playing these, you know why you're playing them. So we'll move on to Bloomlord. Oh God.
Power.
That's all you. None of us have played it.
Okay, we said no downplaying. So
When?
I want to put this deck down here so bad, but I can't downplay. It's probably tier 1.5.
Really?
Yeah.
It got new support too. They got a second Searcher rookie.
Yeah.
It got more champions that let them reduce their Digivolve cost, which means you can place it for even cheaper.
Level 4 Sunflow is okay. It's good. Like you definitely play it, but it only comes up on Bloomlord.
Yeah, I heard it doesn't really do.
No, it does a reduction on its level 4. It suspends itself to evolve into something.
Yeah. But I mean, you don't play any level 5 fairies. You could play Lilamon, but
Why?
Yoshino or whatever.
yeah, to play Yoshino for free. Yeah,
I think that could be a direction of the deck if you want to have like free tamers instead of the better tamer.
Yeah.
Because free tamers are still good.
Yeah.
Free tamers are still good, and Yoshi's not bad. It's just the problem is that you're competing with Mimi, which is probably still like an S tier tamer to this day. Yeah. I can't believe that tamer got pinned in set 1. Like, it's still the best green tamer. Yeah.
Tamer tier list when?
Tamer tier list, yo. We could do that.
I think the real strength this deck has is that sometimes Hydramon just floodgates people out of the game, and if you're not doing that, you're the fastest Quartzmon deck,
Yeah.
and Quartzmon shuts down a lot of like any deck that relies on tamers.
Yeah.
And there's some tier 1 meta threats that really need their tamers to pop off. So if you just hit into Quartzmon, it's almost impossible to lose those matchups.
Yeah, I agree. I think in the last tier list video, I definitely downplayed how good Quartzmon was in this deck. Like, you play the 3 Quartzmon build. I was only playing 2, and I never saw it. If you play the 3 Quartzmon build, that 3rd Quartzmon gets in there because you need to see that card in so many matchups. And then if they clear it, you just make the second one, and like it's too good. That card is actually absurd.
Your deck climbs so fast. That's why it's the best Quartzmon deck, but it's not the best deck that plays Quartzmon. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think
fair.
there's the other Quartzmon deck is a better deck, but we'll get to that later.
Yep. Okay,
But
so
tier 1.5, it's good.
yeah, like you can go aggro, you can spam. The deck has its weaknesses, but I think just getting to Quartzmon and being able to smack with Bloom super fast is enough to get you a lot of wins and overcome a lot of decks.
Yeah, I will say its biggest weakness is that it's like sometimes inconsistent.
Yeah.
I think that's helped a little bit by the fact that it got a second searcher rookie, and you can
Yeah.
play your rookies for free a lot of the time. So I think that actually is going to help the deck a good chunk.
I agree. All right, moving on to I believe this is Dark Knight.
That's Dark Knight.
I think we've been putting this for fun tier 3. I think we got to upgrade this. I think this is tier 2 deck.
I agree.
When Sunny pilots it, it's up there.
Yeah, the new dual tamer, the Kirihan Nene helps them a lot too.
Good.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
card is good. Yeah. Being able to cross from trash, that's strong
Yeah.
for the deck.
It's probably
Yeah,
the
this
only
deck-
thing that can use Ace card.
It can also use the the new
Yeah.
WarGreymon Ace. Actually,
True.
WarGreymon is not so good, but this deck is just so defensive and has such sticky bodies that you can actually punish somebody with the new WarGreymon Ace.
That's true. That's true. You could DGG evolve. It has DGG evolve. You can pop tamers. You have floaters, blockers. This deck, if you don't know what it does, I've always said this about this deck. If you don't know what it does, you're gonna get bopped.
I still don't know what it does.
Yeah.
It still can be like slow because everything in the deck still costs 4, but it definitely got some buffs. It got some
Yeah.
support. Mostly the new tamer, the other like Darkknightmon cards aren't that great, but it also can play WarGreymon Ace, and that's like it's an extra defensive mechanic on a deck that's already good at being defensive.
I agree. So, I mean, if you're a Dark Knight guy, then you already know this deck is pretty sleeper. You know, people like hate on you for playing this deck, but you know this deck is actually decent. So, we're just confirming the deck is decent.
Not crazy, decent.
Yeah. All right, moving on to
Unlike this deck, which we can just put into
birds, red birds,
the birds.
red birds,
Birds
not purple birds, red birds.
for fun.
Yeah.
Well,
I tried building that stuff and it just was awful.
It
yeah,
has a really funny combo with that deck is bulk.
yeah,
Yeah.
Not
unfortunately.
much to talk about there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll just go
So-
on to this is Cross 7 Cross Heart.
I think we can just lump both cross versions in it because we don't have the Murder build on here.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
the cross decks.
I think they're both tier 2, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we overrated the Murder build last time. It was still new, but people started to find answers for it, and like
Yeah,
it does have consistency issues when it's playing all the gravity crushes and binaries.
Mhm.
It feels oppressive to lose to because
Mhm.
sometimes you didn't get to play the game, they rushed you 7 times.
Mhm.
But it is a little weak, and I think there's also some decks that are going to put Psychmon a lot, and they can repeat Psychmon now, and that's going to be a problem for the deck.
Yeah,
Other decks can remove Tamers. It struggles breaking through big walls. I think others are just slightly better. Kind of got just a little power, but still a winnable deck. It's still aggro people out of games.
I
I
agree.
feel like it's still top of tier 2 because sometimes it can just smack you and you just lose.
It's definitely better than Psychon because it beats Psychon.
Yeah.
True.
It's like right at the top of tier 2.
Okay, so
yeah.
Go ahead, Bryce.
I think Crosshouse really good. It's getting power cut just a little bit, and there are things that answer it, but the deck's still really strong.
Yeah, the biggest problem playing this deck right now is that there's a lot of decks that rely on their tamers, so people are playing tamer hate, and this deck just kind of takes like the L because of that, unfortunately.
Yeah,
It-
it loses to Quartz, it loses to tamer removal, which some decks are really good at,
Yeah,
especially certain red
Hades
decks.
Force.
Did Crossheart get
Pretty
anything
good
to cross from trash?
No.
You can use a new tamer.
Oh,
Which
Nene?
Oh, actually no, because I think you have to go to a blue flare.
yeah, Blue Fair Twilight. That's why I
yeah,
was,
so I think it still has it hasn't really got anything new support. It's like the same deck.
All right. That's enough about Crossheart. It's good.
Before we go, I forgot something I want to mention about like the Venusmon decks is they did get some new support. They did a pretty good option that it basically repeats Venusmon's effect to minus security.
Odin's Breath.
You guys it's like Odin's Breath, yeah.
yeah.
So I think there is an Odin's Breath like turbo version of the deck that might be decent and might be sleeper, but then we have to cook with that a little bit.
Yeah,
and even when it's trashed, it gets its effect, which it makes a difference.
that's true.
Especially against decks like Beels that are trying to kill you by trashing your security. That can actually
Exactly.
come up a lot.
Mhm. And I mean, you could do 4-gate dragons. Machinedramon. I was just saying.
The new Machinedramon looks crazy, but
That might be too saucy. Anyway, on to the next
Love
stuff.
sauce.
Bloop, 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 bloop,
I don't know, bro. We're going a little high.
Whoa, no downplays.
bloop. No
okay,
downplaying. No
okay.
downplaying. No downplaying.
No,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Black Wargray's tier 1.
Yeah.
Do you want to also put the Wargray with it, too?
Yeah, it's the same deck.
version.
Okay, so we'll say there's like three
There's
different
two.
ways.
No.
Two.
There's 2.
Yeah.
There's a Bill OTK one, and there's control. Mid-range control.
Are they both tier 1? I think the mid-range version is way better than the OTK one.
Yeah. I
yeah.
think the OTK one's just, I don't know. When I try to play it, it always feels too-piece reliant.
Yeah.
I would say OTK would be
But
one
the thing is, you can also toolbox all those cards into the mid-range one, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
I think mid-range is the
It's
way
kind
to
of
go.
just the Greymon deck.
1.5 for sure.
Yeah, I say 1.5 because if you see the pieces early, you win early.
Yeah.
If you don't, then you're kind of stuck.
That's
And you
true.
still get to play the entire Greymon line, which has a
Right.
ton of searching. Is one of the better decks to proc Cool Boy a bunch of times.
Yeah,
Kai is a good tamer. They play tag for free.
Yeah, Greymon cards are good, but I think
Yeah.
one's just up better than the other.
Yeah, for sure. Black War. I think you need Black War right now. The OG
I
Black
will-
War.
I will say, without Hades Force, I think this deck drops like 2 tiers.
Actually,
Hades Force is a crazy card.
We have that good of option than a Greymon player.
I think the game needs it though.
Yeah, it does.
balance
It
out
does.
the decks.
It does.
The game does need that stuff.
Yeah, no hating, no downplaying. I think Hades Force is a needed card.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, what other cards let you get rid of tamers besides very niche cards?
we can get rid of like one tamer.
Yeah, that's the only one that lets you wipe tamers.
Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, it's just having that kind of tamer floodgate keeps certain decks from being way too oppressive, and so I think it is necessary. But man, does losing as a deck sometimes suck because you just can't deal with it at all.
Yeah.
They have the most protection of any like decks. They just make an unkillable stack, except for like one other deck that has infinite protection.
and the raid Metal Greymon is so crazy, dude.
Raid?
Yeah,
Raid.
that card can solo win you the game like turn 2, turn 3. If your opponent draws mid and you open with that Metal Greymon raid, the pressure and the advantage you get off that card is just too high.
Yeah, even the Wargray without being able to go into Black Wargray X, like the Wargray red black
Yeah.
one is just like you're like, what do you do?
Yeah.
The level 5 and level 6 raid cards are really, really strong.
Yeah.
And the fact that they feed into each other, and the new one gives you piercing and damage free. Level
Piercing
6
was-
can
Yeah.
double strike and have blocker.
Why does it have
Every-
piercing? God, Greymon cards do too much, dude. They got every keyword. They have every keyword.
It's
Like, I think the
needed.
only downside of the deck is that you literally have to play like a billion different top end cards because you need stuff for every matchup.
Yeah.
So you don't always see the top end. You don't have a consistent like I can play
Card.
3 and 3 of my top end and be good. You kind of want to play all of them.
Yeah, but you have one for every scenario. That's what
You do
makes
have one for every scenario, which makes it good. But you also
Yeah.
need to see them, and
True.
you don't always see the right one in the right matchup. So it's a little inconsistent, but still so strong.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny bit inconsistent.
Ooh.
It's
Yeah.
just weird ratios you have to play depending on the meta, and then sometimes you can be in that matchup where you can't play a lot of a certain card because it's rare to see a certain matchup.
Yeah. I think this is the most like 50-50 matchup deck. I feel like you have game into anything, depending on how you build your deck.
Overall, it has the best matchup spread. I
Yeah.
think out of
Yeah.
any deck, it will have the
Yeah,
best matchup.
it's super well rounded. I don't think it's the best deck, but I think it's like the second best deck.
Okay, hot take. I don't think there is a best deck this format.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That could be true, but I will at least make a claim that there is a best deck.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of really good decks. I don't think there's one best deck. Just saying. No downplaying. No downplaying.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll move on. Okay, red hybrid.
I think that's easy 1.5.
Yeah.
That deck can still
Yeah.
murder you for no
I
reason.
was going to say
Yeah.
1.5. If they see their pieces early, they slam it hard. As a huge red hybrid player, I wish it was better.
It's a high roll aggro deck.
Yeah,
Sometimes
absolutely.
you absolutely high roll and they can't play the game, and sometimes you're
Right.
too slow
Well,
to get actually set up.
I feel like
Especially in
I'm
this
always
format.
at 0 security against this deck. Always.
Yeah, well, especially in this format too, that is option and high DP security. The deck can make their Digimon, 18 plus, no problem. And if they have the Alphamon underneath, the options don't matter if they see the cards. But
And I think some of the level 4s like want to die anyway, so it's fine hitting the high DB cards.
exactly.
Solid. It's just solid.
Yeah, good red deck go face.
Yeah, exactly.
It has one unwinnable matchup though, and I guess we'll get
Which
there.
one?
Machine.
Oh yeah, that's. I mean, if you see your pieces early, but it's very
It's
rare.
almost unwinnable.
Hard. I think it's real hard.
Yeah.
But if they see their stuff early, they'll roll you.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on then. Allforce.
Oh man, where are you at? Where
If
my man's
he
at?
was here, he'd say top tier.
I talking to him. He said it's better than Mirage. He says it's better than Mirage. Right
Better than Mirage?
He says
But
just
I
because
tend to agree with him
Mirage
in the
needs
fact-
training.
Yeah, if Mirage got the training cards, it would be a different argument, I think.
Yeah.
But doesn't Allforce also benefit from trading cards?
It does, but Mirage will just pop off quicker than. It's the difference. The only thing that Allforce has going for it is the evade, because the evade, again, with how security is and all the high DPs and the option cards, the evade comes in clutch for them.
I don't think Evade does too much right now, if I'm gonna be honest. There's so many things that get around Evade.
Yeah, DP reduction.
I think Evade is pretty mid as a keyword.
I'd say this deck is tier 2. It's just a slightly weaker like rushdown deck. That is very piece reliant. It's a lot of pieces, but sometimes they're just popping off of pieces and playing a bunch of stuff for free.
I think this deck gets washed by Quartzmon too. Like
It also gets it literally
Giga
can't be
washed.
Quartzmon.
Yeah.
It gets 9-1 to Quartzmon, like 10-0 to Quartzmon. And so anytime a deck plays Quartzmon, they don't even need to have their tamers set up. You could just have a Quartzmon on the field
Yeah.
and lose the match immediately.
Like the problem is that this deck's only form of removal is bounce. So even if you play like Cocytus Breath to bounce the Quartzmon, legitimately as a Quartzmon player, you can just hard slam it. Just pay 15. They can't answer it. What, bounce it again? Okay, here we go.
Also,
play again.
they're most of the time they don't even play Cocytus Breath. The way they bounce is by unsuspending, which means you can't bounce Quartzmon into that 90% of the time.
Yeah. Or I guess it's Full Moon. What is it? Full Moon Turbo Blaster?
The Meteor Impact? Or
Meteor Impact, yeah.
They play that new the Trident one that's 9 cost and make it 6 by tucking, because that one sends to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, that's true. That's
like 2 new good bounce cards that are like decent. They're not like crazy. They're just kind of like different options for bounce cards.
Have to see them.
Yeah,
Have to see them.
they're just super high memory.
They're not even that good.
And they're super high memory.
Again, the fact that this deck autos the Quartzmon drops to tier 2 mostly.
Yeah, it's also far more expensive than the other 2 blue decks you could build.
Yes. Without the Quartzmon, I think this deck would probably be high tier 1.5, but Quartzmon's existence just deletes this deck sometimes.
Terrible matchups. All right, terrible matchups and waifu tax. That's all there's.
The wife tax still high. I think it's like 50 still.
Yeah.
It's still 50. Yeah, I was looking at it.
People really like that ring of it.
Right. Machine.
All right, you've been playing a lot of Machine. How do you feel about this deck?
You talk about a Machine.
I feel like last format, I really think it was tier 1. Like, easy tier 1, top 3 deck. But now, man, I don't know if it can deal with, like, some of the stuff. Royal Knights with Shine, you have to have no way to be DP reduced. It's top of 1.5. It's close. It's close. I just don't know if that still has the power as it did last format.
I'm gonna put Bloom ahead of it because Quartzmon can do a lot against that deck.
I disagree, but yeah.
You just Digivolve the Quartzmon? Okay, sure, fine.
I think fast Quartzmon could be good against that deck.
Yeah.
I would say, me personally, I think this deck was maybe top 1 last form. I think it actually might have finally went to like a high best deck place. But I think almost every one of the good new decks beats this deck.
Yeah, they've all sped up or have way different things that it's hard to deal with.
Like almost all of the new decks are good matchups against this deck, which brings it down a bit.
Also, people are capping saying playing Machine is slow because
Machine is not slow anymore. I agree. People who say Machine is slow haven't seen Machine in like the last 2 formats.
You don't have a hard play. You just build a big stack.
You go, okay, I made a stack, and sometimes they do it real cheap, and then you're like, I can't get rid of it.
Yep.
You hold the L.
Yeah. Once you get against the Chaosdramon X with like 20 cards in its stack, it's like, okay, but hold on.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We were playing Royal Knights versus Machinedramon, Chaosdramon, and it was definitely an interesting matchup where it could go either way.
He actually couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, it was rough too. It was hard too.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, there's how many cards can get rid of like a Chaosdramon stack? Like Chaos Degrade, Paladin mode.
Yeah.
Cross Superior mode.
Royal Knights, if they get to their Allforce, because if they get the Allforce, when they go for the play in Allforce, they just strip all the sources.
Okay.
The new what's the new cross card? The fucking Superior? What is it?
Yeah, Superior mode. Yeah. Cross Superior and Lonky.
Yeah, Lunky.
Oh, yeah, Lonky.
There's 5 cards that can get rid of Chaosdramon, and you have to play a deck that plays them.
The new
If you
Gal-
don't play those decks, you have to just outspeed the deck or just have enough attacks where they can't redirect everything. But the longer the game goes, they get like 4 free blocks a turn.
Yeah.
And the deck
But
has a lot
they
of
don't
text.
be
You have a lot of
digital,
text.
so-
Deck will definitely roll like a lot of decks, but there's outs. There's a lot more outs nowadays.
Speaking of red hybrids, unlosable matchup. This is the unlosable matchup or unlosable matchup. It's so hard against this for red hybrid to beat this deck.
Blocker or redirect.
Blocker, redirect, giant can't be deleted.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. What do you do?
Yeah. Machine real deck. If you didn't think it was, then you're wrong.
It's definitely a deck everyone should watch out for and know how to play against.
Okay, the top dog of last format got nerfed.
Before the nerfs.
got nerfed once.
I don't
EX2 Impmon to 1.
Yep. Deserved. 100%
I think
deserved.
Deserved.
The last format, I think the nerf brought it from like the best deck to like the third or fourth best deck.
Yeah.
It's still good.
It's still really good. It can still
It's
pop
still
off and be fast. I think it's kind of in that 1.5-1 territory. It's still really good. It's still trashing security is a broken mechanic. 7 full cluster for free removal is broken. But it's still really good. It's slower than it used to be with the for it.
I would still say tier 1, but
You still say tier 1?
I
I'd say
say
tier 1 still.
Interesting.
I say still tier 1.
This is
I think-
OTK, Wargrey, Machine, Red Hybrid, Bloom. It's better than those decks? I don't
think
know.
the only thing it lost to was Machinedramon, but I think it's better than those other decks.
I mean, the fact that it crashes all the security, and if you get the mills, I mean, it's all a milling game still, don't get me wrong, but it can still pop off very early and trash all the security and go for game instantly.
I don't know. I honestly think the EX2 Impmon slowed this deck down a lot more than I thought it would. I think only having one of those, because honestly now when they mill last time before the nerf, they hit a mill every time. They hit an effective mill every time, and now it's like maybe every other mill they'll hit something. I'm like, oh, okay, they're not stacking as hard. Interesting.
It's so obnoxious,
Yeah.
man.
So maybe I'll give you guys top of tier 1.5. I don't know about tier 1.
I would say I think Bloom is at least better than Red Hybrid, but yeah, and maybe Machine right now, but maybe I'm crazy.
I want to downplay so hard right here, dude. I still think the deck just okay. Never mind. Okay, no doubt.
Look, that's how I feel about Alpha, though.
Ooh, okay, we'll get to Alpha. We'll get to Alpha. Okay.
I know, I saw it already.
Okay,
It's the bane of my existence.
We can argue positions within tiers as we go on. Okay, let's just move down the list to Royal Knights.
Strong.
Despite this deck being expensive as hell, 2 of us have played it, and I think it's
Not that expensive.
pretty good.
If you don't aim it.
It's not tier 1. It's not tier 1. Yeah.
I mean, I would think it's top of 1.5, bottom of tier 1, depending on how it's built. I mean, I don't know.
There are some. I think this deck is like one of the epitome of a polarized matchup deck. There are so many decks, but the thing is, this polarized matchup deck has way more good matchups than other decks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Its good matchups are really good. It has, and then it just has some bad matchups that are just awful. Like anything that's just too fast and they can't stop feels terrible. But any deck that gives this deck time, any deck that like lasts too long, I think it's like free.
Yeah.
Like this deck is like the strongest like clock deck we've ever had. We've had other decks like Mother and stuff. This is win condition is like unbeatable sometimes.
I agree.
It's good. It's very, very good.
And it's expensive for the wallet, tier 1 wallet.
Tier 1 wallet, yeah.
It's a tier 0 wallet.
Is it more expensive than Mastamon? Like full rarity? Max rarity Mastamon is pretty fucking expensive.
Yeah, Massmon's more expensive because you have to play
the gold
$300
Mastamons.
card.
Yeah.
Oh, if you have to play the gold cards, then yes.
You have to play 3 or 4 of a $300 card. So unless it drops.
If you didn't play the gold cards, it might be even just because of the waifu tax on the Angelomons and the Mires are still up there.
Yeah, that's
also, that deck did drop in price a little bit, Mastamon, just because they reprinted Magna, and you don't have to play as much of it anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, Massmon can be hell expensive. Or not. This deck is if people don't know what this deck does, is basically it just ramps out the, like mana every turn, and just plays a bunch of walls. It doesn't really do much chip damage because it like basically delete its own board every turn. But eventually, it just gets to play like 5 to 9 level 6s for free.
It's basically Megazoo archetype.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's different ways to play it because like when I was playing Machinedramon versus Langford, you could play it with a chip style where you play the Omegamons, you go in for the swings or the Sistermons, and if they're on board, you swing with them. Because if you do it that way, you don't have to wait as long to do the Omnimon play because you don't need to put out 6-7 guys. So there's definitely different ways to play it. I mean, those are very situational. But when I was playing versus Machinedramon, I had to swing with the Sistermons. There's no point in leaving them up.
Yeah.
And then even if you're only putting out 4 guys and they have 2 security, those 4 guys are going to be enough with how big they are and their effects and stuff like that. So I mean, it's definitely, it can be quick if you see the right Royal Knights. By playing so many of the same Royal Knights, sometimes you get stuck because it's not like, Dynasmon searches, but it doesn't do anything if you have 3 Dynasmons in your opening hand.
Yeah.
It falls under itself sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I will say I thought the deck would be way more straightforward than it is. It does actually have some like unique lines you have to think about, and you have to know when to shotgun your play because there's a lot of times where, all right, do I have to go for the Omnimon to stabilize my board? Because there's a lot of times you play Omnimon and don't win the game immediately. You just have to win off your big board that you make, and then once you make that board, it's almost impossible to like play more cards. You just have to give people a lot of memory. Sometimes it's okay if you have like Alphamon, if you just chain Alphamons and prevent people from attacking the big guys.
Alphamon.
That card is good. That card is good.
I've been stalled by that card.
Yeah.
I won games by just slamming Alphamon for 12 after I made my Omnimon play because they're not gonna. It's really hard to get rid of their board, and if they do, you lose.
Well, Genku is so good in any matchup just because Genku's ability lets you play any of the Royal Knights. So if you played Alphamon once, you can loop it with Genku and just stall until you find that Omnimon or the pieces that you need. I thought memory choking with that deck would be difficult. But if you play it right with the option card and the Omegamon and killing itself and all that, you can do so much with just 1 memory every turn, honestly.
Deck is definitely strong. But the biggest weakness of this deck is that it doesn't draw that much sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it needs pieces and sometimes can't find them. But other than that, this deck is definitely really strong.
I was about to say you can get Floodgated out too. Psychmon and Sorai.
Psychmon, Sorai, Chikurimon, and
Solarmon.
Chikurimon and Solarmon are less popular because it's hard to fit those tech cards in black and red decks. But Psychmon is in every single purple deck, except for exactly like one that we'll talk about later.
Royal Knights 1.5. You agree?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, it's like it is the top 1.5. It's actually a gatekeeper deck.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on to ShineGreymon. Okay, no downplaying. It's tier 1.
I actually think it's the best deck.
No. It's not the best deck. It's not the best deck. It's not the best deck,
You also believe it's not a best deck. So
It is.
I will say my argument.
It's too fragile. It's too fragile.
I would say that even though it can be fragile, the thing about this deck is that it's a deck that can carry bad players. On top of being in compliance with good players.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oof, you make a good argument there. That is okay.
I played someone who said this is my first tournament and nearly lost the set when they were bricking because this deck can actually carry bad players on top of being really strong.
Yeah, Oonga Boonga.
It can be fragile. It is weaker to security bombs, but also even being weak to security bombs, you get to basically play a 1-cost hybrid every single turn, and just repeat that until you can actually win the game. And the hybrid also gives you a lot of value on.
And when it dies, it doesn't die.
If it dies, it sometimes just doesn't die. It smacks you every single time.
And sometimes by getting the
That's
heal,
true. If Marcus doesn't die, you're like, oh shit, I won.
and getting the Marcus heal isn't bad because it makes it hard for opponents to swing into you. It makes them have to like question their swinging when you kind of have a much easier game plan to achieve. There's definitely some like high playing. You get like very good skilled players are going to master this deck, but it also carries bad players, and I think on top of being like easy, but also like kind of how Beelzemon was when it had 4 Itmon, where it was really high skill 4 that carries players, but also high skill ceiling. It's going to make the deck the best deck, in my opinion. But only by a little bit. It's not like that much of a huge margin.
No, it's by very little.
It's
Yeah.
not like the tier 0 threat that fake
No,
Panda
no,
is.
not at all,
It's,
not at all.
It's
No.
right. It's just like slightly the best
Yeah.
deck, I think.
This isn't, this isn't Beelzemon. This isn't Nationals Black or Gray. This is.
No.
It's a very strong deck. I will agree. Okay, can I give my arguments against it being the best deck?
Sure, sure.
Okay. Okay, number one, the deck is super no protection. Okay, this isn't a legit Greymon deck. There's no protection. All right. You could try to run. I mean, you could technically run like a Greymon, regular Greymon level 4s, so Greymon X and both Greymon X's, I guess. And you could run X antibody because you have a Rise Greymon X, so you can gain protection. But then your Rise Greys cost 4 instead of 3, and that's like a huge minus. If we still had 4 of the BT11 Greymon X, then 100% you would go that route. But Bandai nerfed, so we're stuck with Geo Greys. The new level 4 Geo Grey. Okay, that card is fucking broken. There's no downplaying that card. That card is insane.
Not only is that card broken in this deck, it's broken in decks that still evolve for 3.
Yeah. Okay.
There's too many cards that play Tamers for free in that deck.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And cycles them back by going to security. You get them out, and they gain a memory on your turn, and minus 3,000 on something. The fact that the Marcuses are just cycled and can constantly be used against you on your turn is definitely a pain.
Oh, it's also crazy that a lot of the Marcus effects are both turn effects, which is wild.
Yep.
It's just only the BT, the new Marcus is all turns.
Yeah. The new one's all turns, and it can delete a rookie and gain a memory.
Why did it need to gain a memory?
That's so funny.
Why did it?
What do you mean?
Gain a memory?
Because it's why.
It's a Greymon deck. It's a Greymon deck.
It didn't.
On top of all the points we made, I know this deck definitely has weaknesses, and it definitely can lose if well-timed Tamer removal, or if people just kind of it's pretty. Sorai's pretty decent against it. Quartzmon's pretty good against it. Kongu would be good against it. Like, there's definitely answers for the deck. I just think it's just slightly edged up above everything else. And on top of the argument, I think the top 2 decks are in fact Greymon decks.
Yeah, we're okay. So we are definitely Greymon card game right now. Tier 1 is all Greymon decks. Okay, but go. Okay, so when your Marcus swings, and if you hit a security option that kills your actual like Greymon stack, it's super feels bad. Like it's very hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
You essentially lose a turn because your Marcuses can only come out if you have an Agumon on the board. So if you raise your stack and then you use that to bring out your Marcuses, your Marcus swings and it hits, I don't know, Deathslinger. What else? What's another removal option that's popular right now? Hades Force, yeah.
Meteor, the full moon meteor.
Yeah, full moon meteor. X program.
X program has a nice tech right now.
Yeah.
Because you can play in roll nights.
Yeah.
But any decks like that, you lose your big stack, you kind of get fucked. So
it's just big stack decks.
It's just the only thing is that other decks, like the other Greymon deck, has protection, which is really good.
Sure.
But I think this deck's way to end Gleams is faster and more dangerous.
Yeah, losing a turn in Shine Gray feels really bad if your stack dies that way with your Marcus swinging.
Yeah. Sometimes you can position yourself so you have like basically a stack and a backup stack, but it's only it's.
I mean, that means you're a good player. If you get to that point, you're a good player. So
it also makes just having Marcus on the field makes any Digimon so threatening. It doesn't matter if you're on raising or on the field. It makes everything. You have to remove everything every turn if they just have anything on the field.
Okay, let me give another negative. You can't play Memboost in this deck. You can, but okay, if you bot deck your Marcus, like, ooh, that feels bad.
It feels bad. You can't stack Memboost in this deck out.
They get to search security for them and pull them out for free. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't.
It matters, but it doesn't matter. Anyway.
Oh yeah, it's tier 1. Is it the best
it's
deck?
It's definitely tier 1. I just argue if it's the best or not is the question. But I think it is, but also it could very much not be. But I think it is. Yeah. Just by a slight margin, and because it carries bad plays, like I said before.
The other 2 Greymon decks have answers, though. We got Sorai here. We have Hades Force here. This one you can also play Kongu and Black Wargray. I'm just saying.
Speaking of Hades Force, real quick, do you guys think the card should be hit?
No.
I see a lot of people, and I'm like, you guys just want Tamer decks to just run rampant?
No.
I want there to be other answers for Tamer decks as opposed that they're not just the one deck that can play it.
Yeah. Greymon X was the right hit.
Yeah, that card is hella broken.
In the JP format, they were running that Greymon with the shine stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay,
They
that's
can
right.
do both.
Yeah, that's what
That
I thought.
was turbo broken.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, on to the next deck. Another pretty good deck.
Are we gonna go away? Are we no longer Greymon card game? Tier 1, Mirage?
I actually think people are overhyping this deck right now.
I agree. I mean, I think that once the it says it for all decks. So once the training options come out, this deck does get a lot better. But I feel like that's a lot of decks.
I think the problem with this deck is that similar to the Greymon deck, but the ShineGreymon deck, this deck is super reliant on hitting its tamers, and this deck needs its pieces and bot decks its tamers a lot. If you bought the bot decking tamers in this deck is so awful, whereas at least the Shine deck has other ways to grab tamers, like looking through their security, restacking them and healing. It's just not seeing your pieces in the deck feels so bad. But when it's popping off, this deck definitely feels way better than the other decks.
That's true.
It has the strongest pop off because it hits you like 20 times, gains like 20 memory.
That's true.
Yeah, it does. It was crazy.
I do want to do that.
Definitely another blue dog deck. Really good. 1.5, maybe low tier 1. But I don't think...
So, okay, what about the training cards with it?
Well, I don't know. Maybe we should talk about that. We'll make
we
another
don't
tier
get the
list.
training cards until BT14, so it doesn't matter.
There's no point. Yeah, there's no point talking
We
about it.
really don't get them until next set. So.
I'll take them.
All right.
As someone who
Members and trainings should probably be hit in the future.
I agree. All
Yeah,
right.
I think at least the training cards, because I think
Zero.
they're basically make decks 46 cards. There's almost
Zero
no
way.
to play them.
And zero ways to
It's
deal with it.
the same thing like in Yu-Gi-Oh! When Upstart Goblin got hit. It's a 3-0 because it just gives you another card. So I agree that they should some way be hit or affected.
The reason you wouldn't play them is if you're playing a deck that can't play them, like Mastamon or Security Control or Royal Knights. But otherwise, they make your deck like way more consistent because you get to play a 46 card deck. There's no drawback to them really.
No.
But we don't get them until BT14, so they might have decided that in 4 months. We don't know.
Yeah, hitting them in security is going to feel so bad because you're going to lose games because I hit one in security. Oh, they have a level 5 in the back or a level 4. Yes, I lose. It's like
that's like Memboost too, but
exactly that's what I mean.
But these ones are just more consistent than the boost because there's less opportunity cost. They instead of costing 1 memory net, they cost 0 memory net. So there's no reason not to play them.
And you can search tamers.
And you can search tamers.
Crazy.
You can search every kind of card as opposed to just Digimon.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest part of it is you can search any card. If they only search Digimon like Memboost, I still think they would be okay. Like they still be very good, but they'd be okay. Like because it searches any card, bruh.
They search less, but they also net you 0 memory. Whereas Memboost at its core, I think Memboost are borderline broken and are still a -1 memory.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, on to our next stop.
Is this Kentorismon?
That is Kentorismon.
Have you not seen the power?
I would say 2.
I don't think it's quite bulk. I think it's tier 3. Oh, hello.
Yeah, it's not bad. Tier 3?
I think it has a lot of good individual cards, just the pieces don't come together super well.
Yeah, it's weird.
I think the Kentorismon is pretty good in yellow decks because it gets to let you stack options. I think the new option that it's Odin's Breath is really good when it works. It is a little situational, but when it works, that card is nutty. I think some of the new Kudomon Searcher is really good. It's to play the new Greymon that Shine plays. Like a lot of the individual pieces are really strong in this deck, but the whole deck together is just kind of lacking. Yeah. And all of its pieces are just better in other decks.
I can agree.
It's like the Kudomon's better in other vaccine decks. The Kentorismon's better in like security control decks as like a 1-of.
Yeah.
The Greymon's obviously better in the Greymon deck.
Yeah.
True.
This is a bunch of good cards that don't make a coalescent strategy.
It's cool though.
But it's cool. I'm definitely gonna make it for fun. It looks fun.
For fun? Alright,
No. It's tier 3. It's better than
okay.
But I'm going to make it as a fun deck.
Okay. Alright, speaking of for fun, Leopardmon.
I think this is.
I tried, man.
You tried Leopardmon? You tried Leopardmon?
I was before the set came out. I was really trying to find something spicy, like some alliance stuff. Right.
Nah,
But
I
there's
can't
like
tell you.
I don't know, man. There's
I've
like
seen people like
Man.
this that can pop off at maybe tier 3, but I'm gonna put it in bulk. I think Leprechaun's one of the best cards in the Royal Knight deck, but it, as a deck, it's not great. There's
Give me
better
out.
green decks.
weird.
Hear me
Why
out.
would you play a green deck that can't Turbo Quartzmon?
Leopardmon, Leomon.
Whoa, you're cooking.
Looks like you're
You're
looks like
cooking.
you did it correctly.
You're cooking. All right. We'll move on to another bulk deck, Rosemon. Oof, oof, oof.
I would only move this tier 3 just because it's almost Bloom but worse.
No,
Realistically, it's like tier 3, but we put it for fun because it's not good.
How can a deck that has a binary be that bad?
I'll tell you. Okay.
Hey, whoa! We haven't done it yet.
No.
We haven't gotten
The problem. Okay, first the level 6 Rosemons, they're all bad. The new one is okay. But for the most part, they're all bad. And then Rosemon Burst is just bad Quartzmon. It's just like store brand Quartzmon. Like there's no reason. Like,
Like, I think
why?
The only
think-
benefit it has over Quartzmon is that it's searchable, but that's not even that big of a deal.
I mean, Quartzmon is searchable too with Green Men Boost. Like,
Everything's searchable with Boost.
yeah.
It's
It's not good. Not a good deck. Just play Bloom. It's like it plays like 75% of the same cards anyway.
Yeah. If you really, really want to play Rosemon Burst, you just play like a Rosemon or two in regular Bloom, and then you stick in a couple of Rosemon Bursts, and then it's still just worse Bloom.
I'm pretty sure a lot of the Rosemon builds they play the Mimi Rosemon from the set 7, the special ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the only other good one. It's the new one and that one. Those are the best two.
I actually think the line is kind of underrated. I think the line that they got is good because it's the new Searcher, the new Sunflamon, and I think the Lilamon is not that bad, especially because it plays a free tamer. And even though it's level 5 that plays a free tamer instead of level 4, green
gonna
lamps. But everything else sucks.
How come the green is the level 5 that plays a tamer, not the 4?
Yeah,
Because they get
Togemon
to
waiting
play-
room.
It's because they get everything for free otherwise. They already get everything for free.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
Green.
Uh,
Bro.
Green got so punished for fucking Digisorption sins, dude. So punished.
Green is the most nerfed color.
Once they make a
Actually.
Tyranno deck that's good, then green will be green.
And they nerfed all of green in like the first set.
Yeah,
Sad.
they had Mimi's too powerful, is what it is.
Alright, so yeah, Rosemon is just worse Bloom in every way. Alright, moving on to Jessmon.
Even if there was a level lower than for fun bulk,
I know.
this thing is not good. It's so bad.
What does it even do?
Something that's before
It
we
floats.
continue, we're gonna continue really quickly, but I want to say this deck has on deletion that's turn dependent.
Yes, one is your turn, one is your opponent's turn.
Oh,
It's so bad.
Yeah, so it depends on the chess ones you have.
Anyway, next.
Yeah, alright. Alphamon. Any Alphamon believers?
Sucks. No, I'm kidding.
no.
I'm a lightweight believer. I don't think it's tier 1. I think it maybe
So everyone's
top
saying
tier
this deck's
2.
tier 1. I've heard a lot of people say tier 1. I think it's like
1.5.
1.5 is pretty thick, and I think it could be there. It's definitely strong. It has the Alphamon pieces. It's one of the better Cool Boy decks.
It can still kind of do its old play. It just
It definitely can be a lot slower. So I think I personally say tier 2. It's definitely it has a lot of things that make it a lot slower, but sometimes it pops off and prevent the floodgate effect of the new Alphamon's pretty strong.
It's
True.
so annoying.
True.
This deck
Let everyone remember it stops you from attacking a player, not the Digimon.
It stops from attacking a player if with a Digimon that's cost 10 or less,
Yeah.
or 10 or more. But it also gets like Kongu, so it can stop 7 or less.
Yeah.
So timing stuff right is really awkward against this deck, and only like some level 5s are between like 7 and 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only like not even all of them 5s, only some of them.
Mhm.
So it can definitely just stall the game out. Orikin's
Oh,
really
yeah.
powerful, but you don't have the OTK line as often, so Orikin's like less good in this deck.
Yeah, you have to play out of archetype cards to get security +1 now.
Sooner.
Yeah. Which makes it more balanced, but balanced means you're not broken. But I think the deck is definitely really good. It's on that like cusp of like top of tier 2, low tier 1.5. Maybe someone will cook and make a tier 1 version of this deck that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
But I think tier 2 for now is fine.
I think
This
it'll be
deck hates me,
like a
you can't
road,
tell me.
like a road deck.
Mm.
The deck despises me.
It does hate you.
Yeah.
I've seen your hands. You've drawn literally the worst percentage hands I've ever seen,
Playing
only
the
when playing this deck.
Playing the same exact list as you and many other players, I can't win.
It was broken. We were going back when it was broken.
I remember that Bryce like you drew a 2% hand.
That shit was like, I was like, oh my god.
2 games in a row, like, there's 7s and 6s and nothing, and then 6s and 5s. I was like, okay, great.
This deck does have the potential to break because it has to play a lot of top end.
Yeah.
But
I guess
it plays a ton of searchers at the low end. It just also plays a lot of top end, and it can be really rough for the deck sometimes.
But I guess with the Mulligans now, it probably makes it better or more easily. Better.
Now that Mulligan is like a for sure rule.
Only top.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it helps with drawing your low end first 2 turns, but
once you get your low end, like once you get this deck rolling, it starts drawing a ton of cards. It's kind of like Greymon in the way that like once you get rolling, you get to see everything. But like before that, you can easily break.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Solid. Super solid.
A brand new archetype. Belfemon.
Who's played versus it?
I played a very little against it.
I have seen it. I have not tried it yet, but I've seen a lot of this deck, and I'm like been looking into it because it looks interesting. I thought this was going to be a kind of like a more boring version of purple. It might still be that, but in terms of how good it is, I think this deck's actually tier 1. Maybe at the bottom, but I think it's really good.
Are we gonna mess up our Greymon card game right now? We're gonna fit in a fucking Belfemon up here? I don't know.
I can see that. If Belfemon gets ahead with how good sleep mode is and rage mode is, I guess.
Don't you have to like constantly see one of them?
You have to they cycle. You have to just see sleep mode a bunch of times and Belfemon in the trash once.
Yeah.
Because Belfemon in the trash can keep recycling itself.
But they have the draw power. It's purple deck.
Yeah. They get more draw power because they have a ton of new cards that draw you a ton of cards.
The Gizmons.
Also, for the first time ever, you can actually force your Eismon to not have jamming.
That's true. Gizmon level 5.
Yeah.
Gizmon AT. Yeah. Or XT. Is it XT? The
I
level
think
5 is
it's
XT?
XT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Proto XT. It's a Proto AT XT.
Those cards are Yu-Gi-Oh cards, dude. Those are actually Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Digimons just infinitely float each other. They will be they're balanced to other decks because they say you can't digivolve in them, but this archetype lets you basically use them to digivolve.
I was like,
also, something crazy about this deck is it only kind of matters in the mirror, but it gets to play Psychmon, revive Psychmon, and you could use your Gizamons to eat the Psychmon to still play them for reduced cost.
That's true.
I do like that this deck also interacts with the breeding area like the Royal Knights does.
Yeah.
For the first time. I mean, I think that's a cool idea if they do it in the right way.
I think we need more unique decks like it. For sure.
Yes. Yeah. It's not so much like Royal Knight where it's kind of uninteractable, but this one where it's still interactable on the field compared to the breeding area.
Yeah. Once it sets up its game plan, it gets to infinitely float. It has a bunch of different floodgates. It's to play the best floodgates in Psychmon and Gazimon. Its boss monster can negate attacks and then wipes the board. I think it's really good. I think it's the biggest issue with this deck is that it can't, even though it has a ton of draw cards, it can be inconsistent.
Yeah.
This deck, I think it's probably out of all the decks I put in tier 1, I think it's the most inconsistent. But I think it has the potential to be the strongest when it's hitting its game plan every time.
Yeah, the Gizmon engine can get kind of awkward because...
And also, the deck has to keep a low hand size, which makes it even more inconsistent because you can't keep that many options in your hand to play with.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, you need 5 cards or less.
Needs 6 or less. It's 6 or less.
5.
5? I thought it was 6.
It's 5 cards or less.
Okay.
5 cards or less, and this deck gets pretty hard countered by Mirage. Unless you really know the matchup, Mirage can really fuck you.
Yeah. Purple decks losing to blue decks is not new, though. Purple decks
true.
Blue decks.
Actually true, yeah.
As someone who's played a lot of purple against a lot of blue, because blue's been meta for a while, this deck is another purple deck that loses to blue decks. But it's really good against like everything else. It could be lose to WarGreymon, but it has a lot of answers. Belfemon sleep mode could block an attack, and you could revive a blocker.
Yeah, it's a blocker. Yeah, that's what I was saying. People are saying the Astamon will just bring a blocker out, and then you still can't raid into it because they just block it.
Yep.
Yeah. But you do take damage from piercing at least once.
Yeah.
Can't win the game though. All right. Ravemon.
That is trash.
It's not tier 1. It's not tier 1. And no downplaying. No downplaying. No downplaying.
Okay. You can rip. Okay. What? You can rip a card out of someone's hand. Amazing. Should be godlike.
It's actually worse. Miragegaogamon Burst does the same thing, but way better. Yeah.
Way better.
its removal is so bad.
Yeah.
It's because it's tied to the cards in the trash. So
Yeah.
you finally make the play where you have to have, you finally make Ravemon, which your level 6 can't clear any level 6 for the most part by itself. You're too small, and it just doesn't do anything. You jam, and then you disappear off the field, But then you finally make this card. You finally make the burst mode, and you're like, all right, I gotta, maybe I can do some of their field. You look at their hand, because that's what you do, and you get to pick anything. But then you look at their field, and you're like, wait, if I pick this card out of their hand that is going to help them advance the game later on, I can't pick the other card to clear their board. So now I have to pick the bad card to clear their board, and then my deck also does nothing after that.
Yeah. True.
And then you lose the game from there.
I would say that this deck is the perfect example of one of the unique things about Digimon in that, unlike a lot of other card games, card advantage really doesn't matter in this game that much.
Hand card, yeah.
Yeah, and obviously seeing pieces is nice, but you need board tempo. Your cards in hand, your card advantage in hand doesn't really matter in this game.
Yeah.
There's way too many ways to draw and search your deck in every deck.
Yeah. It's insane. I wish. It's cool.
And this dark deck showcases that problem.
Yeah, cool deck.
It is a cool deck, but
They made it too balanced. They balanced it.
No, it's fair, so that means it's bad.
Yeah.
I think it could be tier 3, but we'll put it for fun because of how you've been dooming it.
True. I tried so hard to.
We'll put it tier 3. All right, we'll give it.
It could be about as good as the deck.
It's better than
the Tamer is good. The Tamer is good. Keenan, the new one.
Yeah.
That card's good.
Good.
Yeah.
I love when I play it and they're like, all right, you got Tamer option? They're like, no, give me my card.
Yeah, I remember when I was holding onto my HPD and you're like, nope,
Yeah.
so fucking rip it out.
Yeah, I'd eventually rip out the HPD. He wouldn't discard it. I was like, bro, please.
Yeah.
But
all right, moving on to what is this? Just Gallantmon? Just vanilla
Gallantmon?
Gallantmon?
Yeah, Gallant.
I mean,
this deck has so much support and still does nothing.
It's so dependent on people having a board to remove that it sucks. It got the single best card by itself in the set, I think.
Yeah.
Like one of the cards is probably going to be game breaking as the game progresses, but the deck itself is still just mid, bottom tier 2. It still take wins, and Takato is still a pretty strong ass tamer, giving everything blitz.
Do you guys remember that it was the Omnimon X Turbo deck where it's you would just mill a bunch of options so you could play Avenge Kid mod for free and then evolve Omni X on top of it? Do you guys remember that deck?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I feel like you can just do that deck, but instead of Avenge Kidmon, you do Gallantmon.
Yeah, I mean, I think this Gallantmon's so good as just a standalone card. It in a way, I don't know if it'll be as good as how Death X was. This one's so much more late game.
Yeah.
But the fact that on play, when attacking, you could pop 6k or less or 13k or more, I think is huge. And it has Rush, and we haven't really had anything like this.
Yeah.
You can DP with Rush that you can play for so cheap if it's mid to late game.
I agree. It's like a big
I see
hybrid.
it it's good in control decks too, just as a control as a 1 of or a 2 of. But the Gallantmon deck is just okay.
Finisher.
It can definitely win games, but it's okay. Also bottom tier 2.
Mm-hmm. Bottom tier 2?
Bottom.
I think it's better than Cross, honestly.
I think it's better than Cross.
Oh.
I think Cross is
I think
not that bad,
pretty good.
but maybe I'm crazy.
Cross gets kind of smacked up by Gallantmon historically.
Yeah.
You guys are weenies. Yeah. All right.
I do love.
Speaking of Gallantmon decks.
Actually, the best Gallantmon deck that plays 0 Gallantmon. I have tested this deck. This is the Mill. People call it the Millith Loop deck.
Millith.
Millith Loop. If you haven't seen this deck, it's basically I think it was a Japanese deck coming out the end of their BT12 format or BT13 format that Tessero brought over to our side, and started trying at the end of EX4. This deck's pretty nasty. It's very polarized matchup, so it has kind of I'd say it's not the best deck to play in the meta. I think it's similar to Royal Knights in that its good matchups are almost the same, and its bad matchups are almost the same as Royal Knights. But its good matchups are unlosable.
Yeah. I think this is the only alternate win condition deck we have had.
Yeah. Well, Second Angel could also deck out sometimes. But this one's actually shooting for it.
Yeah.
This one's like his only game
Yeah,
plan.
yeah. Your
It
win
never-
condition is to deck out your opponent. Like you don't care about the security. Well, you can have 10, 9, 8, like whatever security. Your goal is to deck them out, and you can mill like 20 cards in your opponent's deck in one turn if you have the right setup, some shit like that. Like
Yeah, I know it's like
yeah.
I'm because the way the deck works is it's kind of a ShineGreymon Rune Mode Turbo. Is that you're going through your Growlmon stacks, that all the ones that like mill when they digivolve and like accumulate resources. They mill a bunch of cards, mill like 5. I think it's like a total of like 5 cards until they get to a 5 to 7 cards depending on like how you play it. Go into like a Lilith, use Lilith's effect to gain a bunch of memory. Go into a Rune Mode and swing in the same turn to delete something, heal, and floodgate the board.
Yeah.
And then on the follow up like turn or two, you try to deck them out. That's how the deck is plays.
Yeah.
I think one of the secret strengths of this deck is it interacts with security the least of any deck.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to deal with the randomness of your opponent's security that often, which is really strong, especially against decks that are actually stacked with security with stuff they need back, like Shine.
Yep.
So it can definitely smoke decks that are drawing too fast. There might be some more like learning about the deck and playing around it. I think the deck is really strong. Its biggest issue is that it's like a polarized matchup deck. It's really bad versus aggro. The deck doesn't do anything against aggro decks because it's not trying to control the board that much. It does a little bit, but it's just trying to cycle your whole deck out. So you need to be a deck that also is looking for your pieces.
If you ran into a red hybrid with this deck, I think you're done.
You auto lose red hybrid. I don't know how the Royal Knights matchup works because they are also not that they don't draw that much, but they can sometimes trash important pieces.
That's true.
It's a weird ass deck, and it is definitely an alt wing deck. But props to whoever came up with this crazy ass deck.
I agree. This is a cool deck. I think we should have more decks kind of like this.
Yep.
Yeah.
I will say though, when this deck is the deck's its favorite against, if it's toxic, really toxic.
That's true. It's uninteractable basically. It's like, oh no, like you milled 30 of my cards and I can't draw for turn, I lose. Dang it.
Just play Death Eaters or Death Slingers and Wizardmons in every deck. That way you gain memory when you play versus them.
Yeah.
I've heard people. I thought this deck would be good against Beels. I've heard people say that this deck actually cannot beat Beels because of those effects.
That
I
makes
feel like
sense.
they just go, oh, thanks, and then they kill instantly. Awesome.
That's true.
Well, I think there's ways to time it so you have enough memory to go into Lilith and Rune mode and stop them from it mattering, but that might be just incorrect though.
Probably skill issue at that point.
Oh.
Yeah, really unique deck, and I think it's like a high tier 2 slot.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on to EX4 Omni DNA.
That deck's
Bulk?
No,
it's tier 3. It can win. It definitely can pop off and win.
They can definitely win.
When it pops off,
it's
hard.
It's better than Ravemon.
It's super inconsistent though. I think if it was a consistent deck, it would actually be pretty strong, but it's mega inconsistent.
All right. I have never played with this deck or against this deck, so
I've seen our homie play it a lot. It looks like a deck that just bricks really hard, but then pops off when it doesn't brick.
When it pops off, it's definitely hard to get rid of everything because of the Omnimon's effects and the crest and all that. So when it pops off, it pops off. But yeah, it's definitely piece reliant.
And there's definitely better decks that are bricky that do something that pops off.
Yeah,
but it's cool, and definitely better than the other decks on that list.
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's better. It's tier 1. It's better than Jessmon.
It's like Jessmon, honestly.
All right, fair enough. Mastermon. Oof.
I love this deck. I've loved this deck for so long.
What?
Oof.
It got new support.
Oof.
It doesn't do anything.
But it is very oof.
Wait, hold on. New support. It got Melga Ace. That's new
It
support.
got 3 new cards. It got like 3 new cards.
Rune mode, Melga Ace, and what else?
It can play the Rune mode. It can play the new Kudamon, which is crazy. It's
actually true.
card.
Actually true.
So you have to play yellow base now instead of purple base.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of floodgates, you can play
And
like,
the
yellow
new GeoGreymon. Yeah.
The new GeoGreymon. One of the biggest issues is that you want to play your tamer because it's really good, but it's so stupidly expensive. So you always I maxed out on it just so that I hit it for free in security sometimes. But GeoGrey lets you play it for free because GeoGrey is a crazy card. So you get a second crazy level 4 in this deck, which is super nice. You're one of the only decks that can play Melga Ace. The Kudamon lets you search the Tamers, and it lets you search all of your yellow half of your deck. It definitely got some buffs, but like it's still too slow. It's gonna auto lose to Royal Knights. It sucks when your security is trash. It can be inconsistent. I think it is like top of tier 3, bottom tier 2, but it might actually jump up once we get the new vaccine support in BT14.
Whoa.
Once
Yeah.
there's a new
Okay.
angel support.
Yeah. For sure. With the angel support, yeah. But
Yeah.
But it
this
doesn't
is
support
early BT13 tier list price. Sorry.
Yeah, BT13. I think it could. I do think that despite GeoGreymon being a crazy card,
No
besides
coping
GeoGreymon
and no
being a crazy
downplaying.
card, this is the second best GeoGreymon deck, but still not enough for this deck. Tier 3.
All right. Fair enough. All right. We'll move on to hunters. I'm just gonna put this up here.
Yeah. We put it up there. That deck's real good.
Yep.
The deck is. It doesn't. It's only bad matchups with like super aggro decks. It like eats up and Greymon. The main Greymon deck is really bad.
Yeah.
Hades Force cucks this deck.
Yeah.
But against everything that's not Hades Force, I think it has game and can win against almost anything. And has the best removal in the game easily.
True.
Spirit, it can play Melga Ace. It's one of the better Melga Ace decks,
True.
kind of.
Yeah.
But like the problem with Melga Ace in this deck is that why would I play Melga Ace when Superior Mode's like the best level 6 even at level 5?
I mean, you do it like you pass turn with superior mode, right?
Yeah.
And then they try to attack into you. You counter to pass turn back over to yourself. That's
It's like a tech. Yeah, it's a tech option in a deck that's like it can play it but doesn't need it. It's still, I'd say it's like the third best deck personally. I think it's still really good. I think it was kind of like close top 3 last format, but I think it's like just it got more good matchups and less bad matchups from the new stuff.
I think it's better than Blue Flare for sure.
Yeah. That's what I said. Third best deck.
Yeah.
2 Greymon decks, Hunters, another Greymon deck, and then Belfemon. I think it's a good top 5 for me.
Ooh, Greymon card game. Oh my god, Alliances.
Oh yeah, that deck is bad.
Yeah.
We need to talk about that.
Sadness. All right, guys.
Maybe they'll be broken because they announced Lotmon and Terriermon advanced deck, and last time an advanced deck came out, a deck became broken immediately.
The level 3s in that deck are busted, by the way.
Yeah, that's true.
Level 3 in those are busted. Everything else is just bad.
There's no reward for Alliance, really.
True.
Now, everyone get the Terriermon assistant AAs now.
Yeah. Heaven's Judgment is also an insane card.
Yes. Yeah.
That card is giga.
Hey, how come armor?
Lotmon X.
Armor got new stuff. I would say it's tier 3.
Armor's bulk.
yeah.
It's bulk. Tier 3. It's bulk.
Nah.
That deck is bulk.
I think it's
Heaven's Judgment, new Magnamon.
Yeah.
No, every single tier 1 1.5 deck smashes armors.
Okay. That I agree.
Yeah.
Like which
I-
one of these decks has a bad armor matchup? Not a single one.
I looked at
Yeah.
it, I thought, and you're right.
Yeah.
I thought, and you're right. You have to look at least one good tier 1 matchup to be in tier 2.
There's no way. That deck is bulk. Not even the
I think
fucking the gold Beelzemon does nothing. Like
Oh no, not the gold Veedramon. I meant the new Magnamon that Roll Knight's got is good.
Yeah, I mean it speeds them up a little bit, but
Yeah.
mm,
Yeah, you're right. You're right. It doesn't
Magnamon.
make any of the tier 1 or 1.5 decks, and I think to qualify as like even a tier 3 deck, you have to at least do something against one of those decks.
yeah. Sorry, Nick. All right.
Anything we want to adjust while we're here?
I think our tier 1's pretty spot on, honestly.
Yeah, that sounds like a good top 5 decks to me.
Tier 1.5.
Beelzemon may be higher, but I don't know. It's
Oof.
It's weird.
This is the one I'm not sure. Beelzemon.
That's so weird. Oh. Beelz, I feel like people are still just sleeping on it. They're like, oh, it got hit. It's
Yeah.
no one's gonna play it. It's an older deck. It's old deck, but not really. And,
I'll put it at the top.
Okay.
Top of tier 1.5. How about that?
Yeah.
Knights, Mirage, OTK, Wargrey, Bloom. I think Machine is really good.
I think my only thing about Machine is I think all of the new decks are good against it.
Yeah. I think what also helped for like last format is there was a lot of 3-cost tamers, and so we had a way to delete them. There's a lot of expensive tamers now that are 4 or 5 costs,
All the
and now
Marcuses
you
are 4 or
literally can't
5.
do anything about them.
5-cost Marcus is actually
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Even against Black Wargrey, like just the extra 1 cost, like sometimes it's enough.
Yeah, it's 5 costs, but it really costs 4, so the 5 is just a benefit.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Yeah. So that actually kind of nerfed it a bit.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Early BT13 Gen Con meta. If you're a bad player, play Shine. If you're a good player, play Shine. Yeah.
What decks?
No.
Name 3 decks you're interested in playing this format, since we're excited for the format.
Me, Poo Flare. Sorry, Goo Flare. Goo Flare. We've upgraded.
Yeah,
Goo
we
Flare.
upgraded to Goo. It
Goo
got Goo.
Flare. Goo Flare. I'm still an Alphamon believer. I think that I believe, and we didn't talk about Beelstar. Can we throw in an honorable Beelstar? I think Beelstar benefits from the Gizmon engine. It's just It is okay. Is it worse Belfemon? Probably.
Yes.
Is it worse? It's worse Beelzemon and worse Belfemon. Okay.
Yeah.
It's out of the 7 great Demon Lords deck, it's the worst one. But
Yeah, even the Mill Lilith deck's better.
yeah, so it's I don't know. I'm gonna put Beelstar. I'm gonna cope with that deck.
We'll cope at tier 3.
Yeah, no, it's bull. But all right, move on.
All right. What else?
So 3 decks, you said Blue Flare,
Yeah, Poo Flare, Beelstar,
Alphamon,
and
Beelstar.
Alphamon. Yeah,
Alphamon. Okay.
yeah. All right, you guys.
Go for
Eric.
it. Okay. Dude, I'm so boring. A black or gray.
Greymon.
I like winning. Greymon. Dude, Machines
Greymon,
Machines
Control
is-
Greymon.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Wait,
ShineGreymon,
No,
Blind WarGreymon, Metal Greymon.
All of No, Machine, because Machine is just so
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, you're a machine player. Yeah, you're a machine player.
Yeah, and then I'll just play. I'll just cry in Ravemon, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
I'll join
just,
you.
I just like ripping cards out of people's hand. I'm sorry, but that's like
I'm not-
the best part.
Trap that
I'll
shoot?
try with Mastamon. It's okay. I'll do that with Mastamon. I'm gonna try some
Yeah.
Mastamon cooking.
Yeah.
Oh no!
I'm excited. I want to try Belfemon. I wasn't interested in it, but I think I've seen people play. I'm like, oh, that looks way more interesting than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've also built Royal Knights. That's fun.
Yeah.
As my wallet has made me build Royal Knights, not me, my wallet. Royal Knights. Miragegaogamon seems fun. I built that, and then I've always been a Blue Flare believer. I like Blue Flare. I think it's fun. I think the fact that it's so versatile, I think makes it so enticing for a lot of players.
Agreed.
I also
Wait.
have Hunters and will play it competitively because I
Wait,
think
wait.
they're so nuts.
BT13 is still the reprint set, so I will be playing Gammon 100%.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we'll probably make
I'm
another
gonna
tier
be
list at some point. So
I will be.
I mean, it's a long
Yeah.
format, so we
yeah,
probably have to.
yeah.
I really wanna
We'll
see-
be back in like in a month and a half. We'll make another tier list. Yeah.
I want to see if Melga actually has an impact on the meta because that card is good, but it's like the decks that can play are just so neat.
Weird. Yeah. I
It'd be
agree.
fun to do this at the end after 3 months of this shit.
Yeah. We're gonna be like, oh man, BT13, the worst meta. Oh god.
Oh,
Yeah. So once the meta gets solved and the tier 1 deck is found,
Oh.
like the S tier, like. Oh my goodness.
yeah.
No. I actually wanted to make them. I've been super lazy because I want to do a bunch of content, but I've been just absolutely glued to Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
We'll
Agreed.
do some fun tournaments for
But I
fun.
want to make a tier list of what I think the most fun formats Digimon has had before.
All right. Okay, so we did our 3 best decks. Okay, just to sign off, what's your one spicy tech card that you think people should watch out for? I'll give you mine. Mine is Miragegaogamon Paladin mode. I think that card is spicy as hell right now. I think that deck. I think that card. If you could make a deck that can play that card efficiently, I think you're cooking.
Hard.
I don't think
Okay.
I mean, I already played one spicy deck, but I don't think it's the spiciest. I think X Program and Royal Knights is sick.
X program that's a spicy card. All right, we'll allow
But
that.
I think my most spice, I think Odin's Breath is mega slept on. I think that card's actually kind of
Yeah.
nuts and might actually make there might be a Venusmon deck that's way better than we think it is.
Agreed.
I guess just because I was thinking about today, Quartz and Black Orga X. Yo, Shine?
Gray can play everything?
Yeah.
It's
Gray
playing
plays
all.
everything?
Yep.
I don't know. The one from playing Royal Knights, extra alphas, just say no to cost 10s.
Yeah. All right.
I mean,
yeah.
Stall.
I mean, well, what about all delete?
True, that's what I'm
I was just talking about that earlier.
All delete.
The fact that Omnimon comes back to your hand,
Yeah.
you just you win next turn after doing that.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be a funny tech.
How do you deal with Shine Tamers, huh?
Because you don't have to shit out everything from under your Aegisos, right? You have the
No,
other.
yeah, you could play the Omnimon and pop something, and then
Yeah,
all
all
delete.
delete.
You play for
The
value.
next
You play
turn.
for value on delete.
The only problem is if all delete costed less. If all delete wasn't 10 and it was like a 6 or something, it would
Yeah.
be better. The fact that
But-
it's 10 makes
What does it matter if
You do it on a turn where they don't have anything in raising.
Hey, you reset
Yeah,
the board.
the problem with all these is it's 10, and you have to take your Omnimon back. But if any deck can play, it is Royal Knights because they have
Yeah,
a cheap
yeah.
Omnimon.
but the other thing
I'll
was
set that as a spicy take.
I was looking to see what its security effect was, because if it went off in security and you had the Omnimon on field, it'd be so great. But it adds it to your hand.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's something.
But yeah,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, BT13 Gen Con tier list. If you're playing in Gen Con next weekend, play a Greymon deck. I think that's pretty much consensus. Yeah. Pick your Greymon. Yeah. Pick your Greymon, play Hunters or Belfemon. Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. All right, we'll see.
I think Belfemon's going to be the least Gen Con deck just because it's the least practiced.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video. GG's.
Peace.